Live from Central Pennsylvania, this is CBS 21 News This Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Sherry Christian. Here's what's happening in the news. The State House reconvenes this morning after a key state school bill is blocked as a budget deadline looms. Plus, a new receiver at the Harrisburg School District cleans house, eliminating more than a dozen positions, including the superintendent. And 10 more Democratic presidential candidates share the stage in Miami, including 2 at the top of the polls. But first, let's get a check of weather on this Friday. Stacy in for Steve.
Hey Sherry, hey everybody, happy Friday to you. Well, let's plan out your Friday. Maybe have the day off and you'll be outside doing some activities. It's already pretty warm. It's 71 in Harrisburg right now, so it'll be right around 72 if you're taking a morning run or taking the bike out and doing some yard work there. I don't know why you'd want to do that if you have the day off, but it'll be jumping up real fast, 82 degrees, and then in the afternoon, that's when those storms could pop up, but they'll just be hit or miss. Not everybody will see them, but you could see one pass by quite quickly this afternoon, and we are hitting 90 degrees again. Sherry.
All right, well, there are just 2 days left for lawmakers to pass the state budget, something that appeared to be well on its way to being done yesterday, until negotiations fell apart at the 11th hour. CBS 21's Joe Ducey is live at the state capitol. Joe, it looked like this deal was just about done. What happened?
Yeah, Sherry, that's right. Good morning. Things certainly took an unexpected turn last night. Just as the governor was getting set to sign off on the budget during a ceremony, lawmakers say the education code is what's at the center of the latest disagreement. Codes are bills that go along with the budget, and there's a disagreement in the House over the Career and Technical Education Funding Bill. The bill would help students who are currently in the workforce, and this all comes after the House passed its version of the budget earlier this week. The Senate passed the budget 42-8 before sending it to the governor yesterday, but now lawmakers have their work cut out for them. They've got just one legislative session left today to get all this sorted out.
The agreement fell through, and so the Democrats said, let's put it back into this committee and talk about it. That was voted down. So the Democrats decided that, this is really important, so we're going to vote down the whole education code bill and do a do-over.
Now, House lawmakers are expected to reconvene at the Capitol this morning at 9 o'clock, but the Senate has said they won't return until Monday. The deadline to pass the budget is this Sunday, June 30th. Something will certainly continue to follow. For now, reporting live outside the state capitol, Joe Ducey, CBS 21 News.
Thank you, Joe. Sweeping changes are in store for the Harrisburg School District. The state-appointed receiver says she's eliminating more than a dozen administrative positions. And as CBS 21's Amanda Hoskin reports, last night's announcement got a big reaction from the community.
She dropped the mic. She dropped the mic, and I loved it.
Community members were ecstatic following Thursday's school board meeting.
It's a blessing. Our kids are going to finally get what they need.
After cleaning up a few business matters, which included approving the 2019-2020 budget, as well as a number of contracts, receiver Dr. Janet Samuels announced a number of changes coming for the district.
This is not business as usual. This is working collectively to do what is right for the children of the Harrisburg School District. Thank you and have a good evening.
In a resolution, Dr. Samuels eliminated more than a dozen positions, including Superintendent Dr. Sybil Knight-Burney, in-house solicitor James Ellison, and business manager Bilal Hassan.
This is a very bold move. This is not your ordinary average decision. It was done very thoughtfully.
Those positions amount to about $2 million, which makes room for a new contract with the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit, hired for 3 years at $1.4 million to make drastic changes across the board.
We think about efficiency, financial efficiencies. Many of the positions and the restructuring piece that you will see is designed intentionally to ensure that there is an immediate financial impact for the district. And the team will work aggressively so that we see what these outcomes are.
Amanda Hoskins, CBS 21 News This Morning.
Thank you, Amanda. The first 2 presidential debates of the 2020 campaign season are officially in the books. 10 more Democratic candidates took the stage in Miami last night, focusing their attacks on President Trump and each other. Former Vice President Joe Biden's front-runner status made him a big target.
Joe Biden was right when he said it was time to pass the torch to a new generation of Americans 32 years ago. He's still right today.
I'm still holding on to that torch.
It was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country.
It's a mischaracterization of my position across the board. I did not praise racist. That is not true.
The candidates tackled a range of topics, including health care, immigration, climate change, and the economy. A recent CBS News poll in states with early nominating contests found more Democrats think the party should focus on a more progressive agenda.
And we're following all the latest updates from Osaka, Japan this morning, where Trump is attending the G20 Summit. This is a live look right now in Osaka. The president has just wrapped up a meeting with Russia's Vladimir Putin, in which he issued a stern warning against any further Russian meddling in U.S. elections, while also discussing trade and disarmament. Putin also inviting Trump just now to Russia's 75th annual Victory Day. That's next year, celebrating the end of World War II. But all eyes will actually be focused on Trump's upcoming meeting with China's president, Xi Jinping. And just moments ago, a Chinese spokesperson said China hopes Trump will meet their government, quote, halfway in trade negotiations to strike a ceasefire after a full year of hiking tariffs on one another's goods. So far, Trump has made no promises of doing China any favors. We actually heard from our president just a couple of moments ago on Twitter saying he's representing our country well while in Japan, but it seems that his focus is actually on that Democratic debate last night, saying that it was not a good day for Sleepy Joe or Crazy Bernie. One is exhausted, the other is nuts. We'll be bringing you the very latest here from the Alert Center on Osaka, Japan.
A reported trucking accident in Lancaster County sends a man to the hospital. Happened around 10:45 last night at Mellard Coach in Ephrata Township. 911 dispatchers tell us one person got their arm stuck under a tractor trailer. No word on the severity of their injuries. 4 men arrested for attempted robbery in Lancaster County will face their charges at the federal level. A grand jury indicted Johnny Straining and Lamar Black yesterday, 4 months after indicting the other 2 suspects. The men are facing charges for allegedly trying to rob Smithgall's Pharmacy in Lancaster back in October. Police say they tried to steal opioids and cash. Former Mayor Charlie Smithgall shot one of the suspects during the incident. It's been 50 years since the Stonewall Uprising, which brought the fight for gay rights into public view. A look back at the riots that marked a turning point in America and fueled the modern LGBTQ rights movement. Plus, a popular vacation excursion takes a deadly turn. How an American was killed and why experts say these kinds of attacks are rare.
And how hot will it get in your town today? Hometown highs after the break.
You're watching CBS 21 News this morning.
Good morning. It's going to be another hot and steamy day out there today. Only difference from yesterday is we could see some pop-up showers. So how hot will it get in your town? Well, York, you're probably going to be hotter than some other places down in that valley there, 92 degrees. And, Lancaster looking at 92 as well. Harrisburg, 90. Some places to the north might only make it up to about 89 degrees. But it's all hot. Take your sunscreen out with you today, Ashley.
Well, while we may have the heat, we don't have the accidents, and that's good news for our morning commute this morning. A very happy Friday to you. If you're heading up the door, hopping onto any of our major roadways in central PA this morning, you're not going to be encountering any problems right now. Really no major slow goes. Still pretty early. The time 6:10 a.m. Route 30 crossing through our region, both east and westbound, looks good. No problems on 83 making your way up towards that Capitol Beltway. The PA Turnpike is moving smoothly along as well. This traffic report is brought to you by LB Smith Ford, Central PA's big Ford store.
Today marks the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall Inn riots in New York City. This is a live look at the inn. You can see it's commemorating the anniversary, and the community will commemorate it as well. On June 28, 1969, the LGBTQ community fought back against police who were routinely raiding the bar. People threw stones and bottles, launching their battle for gay rights. During this time, homosexuality was mostly forced underground. Now, a new exhibit in the city shows how the Stonewall became a landmark in the gay liberation movement.
The exhibition explores, very importantly, how this environment provided a safe haven and an arena for letting loose that was really critical for this community.
The Stonewall's owners say they want the bar to continue to be a symbol for the gay rights movement and be remembered as the place where pride began. Salt Lake City police say they've zeroed in on a person of interest in the disappearance of a University of Utah student. 23-year-old Mackenzie Lewick was last seen on June 17th. Yesterday, police spent hours searching a home and interviewing the owner, who they say is a person of interest. Officers collected bags of items, but they never found a mattress, saying it was given away online. It's still not known what led police to that home. A brutal shark attack claims the life of a young woman from California. 21-year-old Jordan Lindsay was snorkeling in the Bahamas when she was attacked and killed by 3 sharks. The family says they saw the sharks approaching, but they couldn't save her in time. While shark attacks are rare, experts say it's even rare to have multiple involved.
Unfortunately, what happens is they become more aggressive quite often because when more than one shark's involved, they compete with each other.
There has been a rash of human-shark encounters just this month. 3 of them were in North Carolina. Last year, there were 66 attacks around the world, and 4 of them were fatal. Taking fun in the sun to new heights. How a local summer camp for the visually impaired is challenging kids to test their limits and try different outdoor activities.
You're watching CBS 21 News this morning.
Summer camp. A chance for kids to enjoy fun in the sun and other activities, and a break for many parents as well. But a camp for children who are blind or visually impaired actually takes kids out of their comfort zone. Here's how Camp Cool is making a difference.
CBS 21 News, making a difference. Sponsored by your local Honda dealers.
I'm sorry.
Gardening, a chance to become one with nature, to smell the fragrance of the blooms, to feel the rich soil of the earth beneath you. It appeals to all the senses, even for these children whose sense of sight is impaired.
You can do it though, Maiwa. We're gonna go down and flick, down and flick.
But that's the purpose of Camp Cool, a one-week day camp for children who are blind or visually impaired. It's through Vision Corps' Youth Enrichment Program, and it's designed to challenge these campers' limits and encourage personal growth through kayaking, horseback riding, cooking, and yes, planting.
So it was a little hard to use the shovel, huh?
Yes.
But I saw you did it, because there's the plant.
Yeah.
There's the plant you planted right there. So you did it. Nice job.
But it's a week designed to not only get them out of their comfort zone, but also teach them skills that will set them up for success later in life.
For 11-year-old Leanne Smathers, that will mean success on 4 different fronts.
I want to be a video game designer, I want to be a baker, I want to be a singer, and I want to be an author.
Leanna had cataracts as a baby that left her visually impaired. She knows she has some vision limits. For instance, her peripheral vision is poor, but it won't limit her success. And that's her message to anyone who is differently abled.
Well, just know that you can do anything and follow your dreams and just ignore when people tell you that you can't.
Cooking class is what I like best.
You like the cooking class best?
Yes.
You did that yesterday, didn't you?
Yes.
8-year-old Maiwa may have had the most fun cooking, but it was also educational.
When the children cooked the treats for the volunteers yesterday, they used things like liquid level indicators, so they were able to hear where the level of the liquid was in the measuring cup. They also used safety and contrast items to properly chop and dice things.
And the Camp Cool kids will actually see the fruits of their labor appreciated, because they're going to serve the snacks that they made yesterday as a part of Camp Cool to the IB Able volunteers here for the United Way Day of Action.
Thank you.
Yes, they were so happy to get those treats that the Camp Cool kids prepared for them.
That is very cool.
Right?
Very cool.
Now, and Camp Cool was last week, right? We caught up with them, and Amy with Vision Corps says they had 10 students this year. The most that they had to participate was 13, but they all get an incredible lesson in life from it.
Well, and I love how you said, and I believe you said it before, differently abled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that caught my ear too.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Well, you can go to CBS21.com for a link to Vision Corps to learn more about Camp Cool and the other services they offer.
Well, let's take a look outside, because this is a beautiful sunrise, and that's the State Street Bridge there. So good shot.
That's cool.
So pretty.
Jim, Ashlyn, whoever found that one, good job, guys. Very cool. Well, it's going to be hot out there, so take the sunscreen, take the floppy hat. We are in what I believe At the end of the day, Saturday is a heat wave because we were 91 yesterday and we're going to be 90 right about today and tomorrow. So we're waiting for a cold front to come through on Saturday, which would cool us down a couple ticks to the mid 80s for Sunday and Monday. But it's going to feel real good because over the weekend we are going to be at the uncomfortable level on our muggy meter. So those dew points are going up. And actually we might reach miserable tomorrow. So let's take a look at future radar because I do want to show you our next weather maker. But before we get to that, which is tomorrow, today we could see some pop-up showers. I don't think there's anything too severe with them, but we could see some pop-up showers this afternoon. There's still going to be plenty of sunshine out there. Again, the UV index is very high, running at a 9. But here comes that cold front. See it coming through, and basically you can see it because you see the showers out right ahead of it. And that's what's coming through tomorrow afternoon. Some of these storms could have gusty winds as well as some hail with them. So we are watching tomorrow storms again tomorrow afternoon. And then Sunday we could see a couple pop-ups, but they'll be more like what we're seeing today. The SPC Storm Prediction Center does have our area in a Category 1, which is marginal for storms tomorrow, so they are watching our area. But just to the northeast, you can see in the New York area, they're in the slight category risk. Today, 90 degrees, mostly sunny, hot and humid. Again, pop-up thunderstorms. And if you look at the 7-day, 4th of July has made it onto my 7-day right there on Thursday. I could see some storms, but it's a little too far out, so don't quite worry about that just yet, Sherry.
All right, thank you, Stacy. Some health news now. Researchers are trying to understand a superbug that's been reported in some hospitals and health facilities. More than 680 cases of the fungus Candida auris have been reported in facilities in 12 states. The CDC says patients with very high levels of the fungus can shed it through their skin. This allows it to spread quickly. The CDC says it's working on finding a treatment.
It is acquiring or developing evolving resistance quite rapidly and readily. It is hard to kill.
The CDC says people who get seriously infected are usually sick and hospitalized with other conditions. More than 1 in 3 patients die. Now hospitals are being extra diligent about cleaning and decontaminating rooms. Former U.S. women's soccer players are raising awareness about possible brain injuries that can come from playing the sport. Brandi Chastain and other former teammates will be studied for signs of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE. It's a degenerative brain disease caused by repeated hits to the head.
Oh, I did a lot of heading the ball, and very proudly so, and very determined and very aggressive.
Research suggests it's not concussions that lead to CTE, and there's some evidence women's brains may be more vulnerable than men's. Round 2 of the Democratic presidential debate wraps up. More on the heated match that took place between some of the top polling candidates in a live report.
Lancaster is accident-free this morning. If you're going to be traveling in and around the city, you're going to be in the clear as far as slow goes or any delays go. We're off to a super nice start. No major accidents on any of our major roadways. Route 30 looks good heading on over towards York, maybe even as far as Gettysburg. 283 heading on up towards the Capitol Beltway, the Eisenhower Interchange, and the PA Turnpike is all moving swiftly. No problems for us in our inner city Lancaster roads. This traffic report is brought to you by L.B. Smith Ford, Central PA's big Ford store.
The Democratic presidential debate can only be described as fast and furious. Last night, the 10 candidates mostly agreed on an agenda to roll back President Trump's policies, but their differences in age, tone, and perspective made for a lively evening. Sinclair correspondent James Rosen joins us live from Miami with a recap. Morning, James. I was going to say lively. That was definitely the word I'd use.
Indeed, Sherry, good morning to you. With the top polling candidates facing off last night, the civility and relative unity that had prevailed during the opening round of Democratic debates on Wednesday night all but disappeared. At times, the struggle to be heard ensured no one was. When order prevailed, the frontrunner, former Vice President Joe Biden, touted his experience.
I'm the only person that's beaten the NRA nationally.
But he also faced, as expected, sharp attacks on both his record and his age.
Joe Biden was right when he said it was time to pass the torch to a new generation of Americans 32 years ago. He's still right today.
I'm still holding on to that torch.
Do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America.
What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education.
Independent Senator Bernie Sanders, an avowed socialist, provided the debate's intellectual center of gravity, with most of his rivals endorsing his calls for higher taxes, Medicare for all, free public college, and other massive redistributions of wealth.
Yes, they will pay more in taxes, but less in health care for what they get.
Dissent was limited and lonely.
If we turn towards socialism, we run the risk of helping to re-elect the worst president in American history.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand argued that only campaign finance reform will produce transformative change, while South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg assailed President Trump's immigration policies on moral grounds.
For a party that associates itself with Christianity, to say that it is okay to suggest that God would smile on the division of families at the hands of federal agents, that God would condone putting children in cages, has lost all claim to ever use religious language again.
Last night was also notable for the presence on stage of tech entrepreneur Andrew Yang, who promised to deal with the effects of automation, and best-selling inspirational author Marianne Williamson, who vowed to defeat President Trump by harnessing love. All in all, it was no ordinary night in American politics. Reporting live from Miami, James Rosen. Back to you.
Thank you, James. No ordinary night indeed. From yelling to singing, two very different days in the state capitol. How a state rep is responding to chaos this week by spreading love. And Ashley.
The G20 Summit happening now in Japan. I'm following the developments from the Alert Center.
We begin this half hour in the Alert Center. I'm here with Ashley Honey, who's following the G20 Summit in Japan.
Yeah, Sherry, President Trump off to a busy start, meeting with several world leaders, including Germany's Angela Merkel, Japan's Shinzo Abe, and Russia's Vladimir Putin. We'll have more on that in just a second. But for now, the most highly anticipated meeting for Trump is with China's President Xi Jinping. A spokesperson for China saying this morning they hope Trump will meet the Chinese government, quote, halfway in trade negotiations. China adding that the international community is expecting to see the two countries strike a ceasefire, of course, after we've had a year-long tariff hikes war.
Now turning to what you just alluded to, Ashley, Russia. Going into this week's G20 summit, the president told a reporter the substance of his conversation with Vladimir Putin wouldn't be any of her business.
CBS News correspondent Stephen Portnoy is in Osaka, Japan, where he tells us the president, ever so briefly, urged Russia not to interfere in America's politics.
It was their first face-to-face meeting since the Mueller report detailed the extent of Russian interference in the 2016 election. When a reporter asked if he'd urged Russia not to meddle again in 2020, the president turned to Vladimir Putin and made a show of it. The moment came amid a full day of meetings for the president here in Osaka, during which he was seen shaking hands with and even fist-bumping several of his foreign counterparts.
I just want to thank you, and I know we're going to have a very successful day.
The White House says trade and Iran were among the key topics of conversation as Mr. Trump met with leaders. But as he sat alongside the German chancellor, the president made it plain his mind was also on politics at home, as the Democrats vying to replace him said at their Miami debate that they'd allow illegal immigrants to take part in their health care plans.
I just passed a television set on the way here, and I saw that health care and maximum health care was given to 100% of the illegal immigrants coming into our country by the Democrats.
Tomorrow, before he heads to South Korea, the president will meet here with China's President Xi Jinping. He says those talks will be exciting, at a minimum productive. But he has also said he would be fine without a deal to end the escalating trade war. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, Osaka, Japan.
And back here in Harrisburg, taking a live look outside. It looks hazy and hot, which is appropriate because that's what it's going to be today. So high temperatures, we will reach 90 degrees right now, already Harrisburg at 70. And I didn't give you my melting forecast yet. So if you're headed out to get ice cream this weekend, we're going to be in the 90s today and tomorrow. So eat it fast, because it will definitely melt all over you. So that is your melting forecast. Just a different way to tell you it's going to be hot, folks. It's going to be hot. Sherry.
All right, thank you, Stacy. State lawmakers have their work cut out for them. They have just 2 days to pass the state's budget after negotiations fall apart at the last minute. CBS 21's Joe Ducey is live for us at the state capitol. Joe, we were actually anticipating the governor signing off on this last night.
Yeah, Sherry, that's right. Good morning. The governor was expected to sign off on the deal during a ceremony last night, but that was called off at the last minute because of disagreements over the education code. Now, code bills have to get approved along with the budget, and there's a disagreement in the House over the career and technical education funding bill. It would help students who are also in the workforce. Democrats say they ultimately decided to vote down the entire education code bill and do it over after funding for the bill fell through yesterday.
But the Democrats really wanted to have that career and technical education bill in there. We got the commitment from the Republicans. It didn't go through, so we're going to wait another day to make sure that it happens.
And this all comes after the House passed its version of the budget earlier this week, and the Senate passed a budget by a vote of 42-8 yesterday before sending it to the governor. But with these new changes, it'll have to go back to the House. Lawmakers are expected to reconvene back at the Capitol here today at 9 o'clock, but the Senate says they won't be back until Monday. The deadline to pass the budget is this Sunday, June 30th, so be sure to stay with CBS 21 News. We'll have all the latest developments as they're happening. For now, reporting live in Harrisburg, Joe Ducey, CBS 21 News.
There's nothing you can do that can't be done, nothing you can sing that can't be sung, nothing you could say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. All you need is love.
A much calmer atmosphere at the state capitol yesterday than it was the day before. A state representative quoting the Beatles song, "All You Need Is Love." He said he thought it was appropriate following the chaos in the Senate the day before.
Mr. President, never in my career of the Senate has the presiding officer totally ignored the rules.
Yeah, those were tempers flaring on Wednesday over a state Senate bill about welfare. According to senators, there was no hostility that carried over to Thursday. The Harrisburg School District is in store for some major reconstruction. Appointed school receiver Dr. Janet Samuels last night announced a 3-year partnership with Montgomery County Intermediate Unit and its executive director, Dr. John George. He's been credited with a dramatic turnaround of the Reading School District, which faced many of the same challenges Harrisburg does. As a result of the plan, which goes into effect on Monday, more than a dozen administration positions will be eliminated, including superintendent. The school district also passed a budget at last night's meeting. It's about $400 less than the previously talked about one, but it still comes with a tax increase of almost $30 million. 2 board members voted by phone and 2 others walked out immediately after the vote.
We're only required to be there to vote on the taxes and vote on the budget. The board has no other responsibility. So I couldn't see no reason to continue to sit there. We have no say in anything else.
When a judge appointed a state receiver for the Harrisburg School District earlier this month, it basically took away all duties of the school board except the power to raise and levy taxes. Members of the Republican Party of Pennsylvania are responding to last night's Democratic presidential debate and throwing their support behind President Trump, of course. In a statement, the GOP wrote, quote, "The first Democrat 2020 debates were nothing short of a circus and have shown the American people their choice is clear, success or socialism," end quote. Now, it went on to say the Democrats are, quote, "out of touch and offering the American people a hopeless future." Night 2's participants assigned at random featured more of the higher polling competitors. Frontrunner Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, and Kamala Harris took center stage with 6 other contenders. The Democrats spent a good portion of the night trading barbs with each other over issues of race and the age gap of the candidates, but they also turned their attention to President Trump.
Donald Trump has put us in a horrible situation. We do have enormous income inequality.
The American people understand that Trump is a phony, that Trump is a pathological liar and a racist.
We have a president who doesn't believe in the rule of law.
President Trump got in a few words of his own after the panel was asked if their health plans would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. He tweeted, "All Democrats just raised their hands for giving millions of illegal aliens unlimited health care. How about taking care of American citizens first? That's the end of that race." Well, a bill to combat the crisis at the border is heading to President Trump's desk, but not all Democrats are happy with the results. Why they say they could have done more. Plus, we're learning more about the investigation into a fire and explosion at a Philadelphia refinery, why a federal agency says they haven't been able to find a cause.
And the 3 big things you're going to want to know about the weather before heading out the door. Right up. Here are those 3 big things that you want to know weather-wise today. Well, it's a kind of a repeat of yesterday. It's sunny and hot today. The UV index way high at a 9, so definitely want the sunscreen and the sunglasses and the floppy hat today. The only difference is we will have pop-up showers this afternoon. Not everybody's going to see them, so you know it's a game of luck today whether or not you see a shower. And then we are turning our attention to weekend storms, especially Saturday, as we could have a little bit of hail and strong gusty winds with the storms to come through tomorrow. So I'll have all that in a full forecast coming up.
Well, speaking of luck, we're off to a pretty lucky start this morning in our traffic area. Everything's moving A-OK across central PA and our major roadways. York is doing especially well this morning. No problems for us in our inner city York roads. Route 30 crossing through the city, taking a trip over towards Lancaster across the Susquehanna is moving well. Same goes if you're going to be heading westbound over towards Gettysburg this morning. No problems on 83 making your way up towards that York split. This traffic report is brought to you by the all-new Turner Chevrolet in Harrisburg.
A bill to help counties pay for new voting systems and change some election laws is now with the governor. Yesterday, both chambers of the Republican-controlled legislature approved the bill. It proposes the state borrow up to $90 million for voting machines. It also looks to make election changes, including eliminating ballot options for voters so they can select a straight party ticket. A former Democratic state representative is pleading no contest to an election law violation. 69-year-old Stephen Stetler entered the plea early this week for a misdemeanor count of failure to report by a political committee. His lawyer says the decision was made based on his age, the restitution he's paid, and the 16 months he spent behind bars. The former York representative was found guilty of public corruption in 2012, but it was overturned due to an ineffective defense counsel. A federal safety board says an oil refinery in Philadelphia where a massive explosion occurred is too dangerous to access. The U.S. Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigation Board called the June 21st blaze at Philadelphia Energy Solutions a, quote, fundamental failure. Officials say investigators have not yet determined a cause and that their first priority is to physically examine the unit once the area is structurally safe.
The area is right now still unstable, and it is unsafe for our investigators to be walking around out there.
Investigators believe the explosion may have started after hydrocarbons were released in a unit that makes a blending agent for gas. It's a perfect getaway for nature lovers. The family fun activities you can find at a local camp, and the amenity that forces you to be one with nature. Ten people are suing the Pennsylvania State Police, claiming troopers unlawfully detained them because they're Latino. An amended federal lawsuit filed yesterday outlines 5 incidents between 2017 and 2018. 4 of them allegedly happened in our area. One was last month along Route 15 in Dillsburg. A couple claims a trooper stopped them for no reason and then detained them. Now the group is hoping this lawsuit will change PSP's ways.
By shining a light on this practice and pursuing their complaint, that the state police might change their practices and really act to strengthen and improve their supervision and training programs so that this kind of conduct does not continue in the future.
State police say it hasn't been served a suit and declined to comment any further. In Washington, there's a deep divide among Democrats after the House passed a bill to provide humanitarian aid to the southern border. The $4.5 billion bill passed yesterday. It was the Senate's version, which allocates money to improve border facilities and care for migrant children. But it doesn't have the higher standards House Democrats were pushing for. Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she opted to accept the weaker bill to ease the crisis faster. But some say more could have been done.
We could have negotiated it in, we could have conferenced, we could have tried to get amendments in, to get humanitarian provisions put in, to get consequences for facilities that abuse kids in.
The bill is now with the president. No word on whether he'll sign it.
And now, CBS 21 News First Warning Weather with meteorologist Stacey Hanrahan.
Good morning, everyone. If you like hot weather, it will continue for you. We are looking at another couple of days at 90 degrees. Yesterday, we officially hit 91. So if we get to 90 today and tomorrow, which I believe we will, that will be our first heat wave of the year. We're waiting for a cold front to come through on Saturday, which will cool us down for Sunday and Monday. Just a little bit. There's not much of a difference between 86 and 90 now, is there? Okay, looking at the muggy meter, we were at humid yesterday, we're going to uncomfortable today, and tomorrow we're going to be at miserable. So it's getting hotter. Next weather maker I want to show you is tomorrow. But first, I need to talk about what's going on today. So today, hot and humid, but then did you see that? A couple sprinkles popping up, some showers as we go throughout the day, or the afternoon, I should say, today. So watch for that. I don't think there's anything severe with those. And then tomorrow afternoon, so Saturday, watch it. Here comes that cold front. So you can see the front in the form of storms out ahead of it. And these storms tomorrow could have some isolated hail and some gusty winds with them. So we are watching those very closely. And Sunday we'll have a couple more storms, but it'll be more like what we're going to see today. So the only real severe risk that I'm worried about is tomorrow. And the SPC, as you can see there, has put us on a scale of 1 to 5, a 1. So it could be much worse. Today, 90 degrees, mostly sunny, hot and humid. Watch for those pop-up storms. And if you look at the 7-day, that summer-like pattern will continue all the way through. Get 4th of July is already on the 7-day next Thursday. Ashley.
Well, does your summer have you itching to escape to nature? You may have heard of Camp Hebron in Halifax Township, but a lot of people don't know it's open year-round and to the whole family for a getaway you won't soon forget. Here's this week's Get Up, Get Out.
Get Up, Get Out, sponsored by UPMC Pinnacle and LB Smith Ford.
It's right in your own backyard. I call it Halifax's best kept secret. There's really no place quite like it.
Tammy Briggs oversees the thousands of people doing dozens of activities at Camp Hebron day in and day out.
We serve 20,000 guests with day camp, day passes. We have a 37-site campground.
So yes, while most of Camp Hebron's weekdays in the summertime look like this, filled with day campers and sleepaway campers trying their hands at horseback riding and archery, there's activities for the whole family to get away and enjoy.
We have our lakefront activities with mini kayaks and corkles. Corkle's like a circular mini kayak, and we have paddle boats and canoes, so there's plenty to do here.
With plenty of room to spread out.
We have 340 acres. We have a lot of trails. We just marked all our trails a couple years ago. That's kind of one of the latest additions, which is great. We border the Appalachian Service Trail.
And perhaps one of the things that makes Camp Hebron extra special is what they don't have.
The Wi-Fi signal is very spotty for those who do have their electronics, so it doesn't make it easy for them. And yeah, they can really connect with nature. We really provide that sanctuary here.
So if you're looking for a tech detox, a little family time, or both, Camp Hebron is the place to go. And you must be sure to book your reservations and activities in advance. And like I said, it's a camper's camp, but anyone can go. You can participate in all these activities, and they have so much there. They have a ropes course, and they've got the whole lake with all the water activities that you can think of. And
so much fun.
So much fun. And they were saying that because their Wi-Fi is so spotty, they hear a lot of families saying that it's the best week of their whole summer because they get to
yes. Yeah. That's a great amenity, or lack of, right?
Lack of, yeah. That's perfect. All brings back memories of
right?
camp as a kid.
It's the best.
Good job, Ash. Well, it's been 50 years since the Stonewall Inn riots, how the New York City bar catapulted the gay rights movement, and how the owners hope it will be remembered. Plus this.
I'm Anthony Mason. Coming up, NASA restores the Apollo mission control that sent the first astronauts to the moon 50 years ago. We'll take you inside coming up on CBS This Morning.
A final check of our top stories. State budget talks are set to continue in the House this morning. Yesterday, the governor was getting ready to sign a spending bill, but at the last minute, lawmakers pushed to change a provision about the education code. House legislators argued over funding for career and technical schools. The budget deadline is this Sunday, June 30th. Meanwhile, the Harrisburg School District has set its budget for the next school year. It's about $400,000 less than what was previously discussed. and includes a nearly $30 million tax increase. Along with approving the budget last night, the state-appointed receiver also cut a number of positions, including superintendent.
This is a very bold move. This is not your ordinary average decision. It was done very thoughtfully.
Cutting the position saves the district about $2 million. The second round of debates wraps up in Miami. The Democratic presidential candidates battled it out over a range of issues, including health care, the economy, immigration, and race. Among the highlights, California Senator Kamala Harris challenged frontrunner Joe Biden on his record on race and school busing, which the former VP defended. 50 years ago today, the LGBTQ community fought for their rights in a bar in New York City. In 1969, at the Stonewall Inn, people threw stones and bottles at police who were attempting to raid the bar. The event is now remembered as the start of the battle for gay rights. Now, 50 years later, the bar's owners hope that momentum continues.
It's critical that Stonewall continues to be that globalized symbol and continues to lead the fight and stays at the forefront of the gay rights movement.
On Sunday, New York City will host the biggest pride celebration in the world, they say, with a march through Manhattan. President Trump is in Japan for the G20 Summit. Earlier today, he met with Russian leader Vladimir Putin. It was their first meeting since the release of the Mueller report, which details Russia's involvement in the 2016 election. The president also met with the leaders of Japan, India, and Germany. The main topics of discussion were trade and Iran. Tomorrow, President Trump will meet with China's president before heading to South Korea.
So it's still hot out. And I think we're in the midst of our first heat wave, because yesterday we were at 91, and then today and tomorrow I think we'll hit 90 or above, and that's 3 days in a row, and that's all you need for a heat wave. So, and then we've got to watch storms tomorrow. We could have some pop-ups this afternoon. Don't think they're severe. Could be some severe ones that come through with a cold front tomorrow afternoon for your Saturday, but it's not a washout this weekend, so you will have sun. Just got to have plans to bring it indoors in the afternoon once these storms come through. So, and then look at that. It's July 4th already, next Thursday. Yeah,
Crazy.
summer-like pattern will continue. So that's your weather.
Well, stay hydrated, bring those pets inside. Checking in with our roads right now. We're doing okay in Harrisburg, no problems on 83. The Capital Beltway is moving well. Our river routes are moving along nicely too this morning, 11, 15, 22, 322. No problems for you on the PA Turnpike. This traffic report is brought to you by the all-new Turner Chevrolet in Harrisburg. And coming up on CBS this morning, Kamala Harris joins the table with a recap of last night's debate.
Oh, that'll be interesting. And we'll leave you with this live look into Studio 57 in New York as they are preparing for that. Have a great day, everybody.
Good week.